We're really thrilled to have Dr. Santos here from the Department of EOAS, which has a long history of studying turtles and turtle conservation. Now Armando himself brings more than 20 years of hands-on experience in marine ecology oceanography, from tracking sea turtles using high-tech satellite tags and drones to mapping how marine megafauna navigate the open ocean and how it deals with human ocean traffic. Much of his work has taken him deep into the field, including long-term conservation research with Prajeta Tamar along the coast and archipelagos of Brazil, before he brought his experience up here to Florida State, got his PhD here, and now he is a postdoctoral scholar. But anyway, if it swims, if it migrates, or if it gets tracked by satellite, Armando knows how to turn its movements into data that actually helps protect it. We're really lucky to have you here, and the floor is yours. Thank you very much. Please welcome me.
All right, thank you very much. It's a great pleasure for me to be here today talking about turtles. Blue Tavern is a very special place for me. It's my favorite bar in town, and it's where I met my lovely wife, Kate. Yeah, we have been here doing some music, open mic sometimes, and I love to talk about turtles. So if you guys have any questions at any time, feel free to raise your hand and we can chat about it. And I'd also like to thank Carrie that invited me to do this presentation, and apologize for my delay in responding to messages. I'm very bad at making text messages, but thank you. Here we are. So I'm a postdoc at Florida State University, and today I'm going to talk about turtle tears. So you may be wondering why turtle tears? It sounds kind of sad, right? But actually, it's not that sad, I promise, or at least not the way that you might be thinking. But before talking about these wonderful creatures, I think it's good for us to look to the past a little bit to understand their life story. So, you probably have heard this kind of riddle before. Which came first, the turtle or the egg, or something similar to that? Today, I like to suggest you that there is a much better question to be asked. Actually, it's not the best question would be how a reptile, a land animal, become a marine explorer. And to respond to that question, we need to look a little more to the past, because their ancestors evolved on land. If we drove around 8 hours west and traveled like 280 million years ago, we would meet this creature, the Samoria, that was found in Texas. And for half century, scientists thought that it was actually a reptile, but beautiful preserved fossils of juveniles that still had gills on it revealed that they were actually amphibians. So they were still tied to the water to complete its reproduction. And this is the novelty that changed everything. the amniotic egg. This shell and the membranes provides the aquatic environment for the development of the embryo. So it's not that they become independent of the water, but now they could carry its portable aquatic environment, and in this way they could spread around land, and it's a kind of a carry-on ocean. So now that evolution has solved the reproduction problem, we can start our story. And it begins on the Pangea. Imagine a supercontinent with all the land masses together. This was the environment that the reptiles arisen, and the ancestors of turtles also started. But turtles were not like we see them always. So the first turtle ancestors that we can trace back is this Papocalis. It looks like a lizard. It's not a turtle yet, but there are some hints of shell. The ribs are starting to enlarge, and this was found where is today Germany. And then we have the Odontocalis that was found where it is now China. That wasn't turtle yet. Also, there were some elements of the plastron, which is like the carapace belly part of the turtle. So it's not quite a turtle yet. It's like the evolution was playing around by trial and error to experiment. Oh, it's coming back. So, and then we have Progonocalis, which is the first undeniable turtle that was a little different from the turtles from today, that still has some element bones, additional element bones on the carapace, and also had some horns and had some teeth. And turtles nowadays doesn't have those structures anymore, but this is the most close from turtles that we can see. And later we have Desmatocalis padulai in Colombia, that was already a sea turtle, and Santanacalis, which is my favorite, that was found in Brazil, and it is one of the best preserved fossils of a marine turtle that we have so far. And this is where my path first crossed with turtles. Why all these animals were buried, already extinct about 65 million years ago. It was in the city of Uberaba, in the state of Minas Gerais, in Brazil, where I was born, that I started to have contact with science. And as an intern on the museum in this place called Peirópolis, an American scientist called Llewellyn Ivor Price arrived there on the 1920s and found the kids playing with a very round rock, and that was the first dinosaur egg that was encountered on the Americas. And in this area, there are many types of dinosaurs. So this is me, more than 25 years ago, helping to plaster a femur, almost 4 feet long, of a titanosaur, which is, we have a replica on the bottom. So this environment has many pieces of reptiles and also many pieces of turtles, like that one, and many of them are still unnamed, that were never described by science, and it's hard to tell because many of them are just pieces. So picture this, the first turtle tears witnessed reptiles flying in the sky and big reptiles swimming around on the oceans, like the plesiosaurus, which were as big as a blue whale, and the extinct and famous dinosaurs around, and also giant turtles like this Archelon, which was 13 feet long turtle with about 3 feet long of skull. And generally, nowadays, we divide the group of turtles based on the limb. Turtles spread on land, so they started on the Pangea, and the continents started to drift around, and this led to evolution of new species. And the first turtles were terrestrial, like tortoises. We can see that the limb kind of resembles an elephant limb. And then we have the freshwater turtles that the freshwater turtle has membranes between the digits, and they still have claws in each digit. And the sea turtles has this flipper completely transformed into a paddle that also works perfectly as a shovel when they come to nest to lay their eggs. So what kind of adaptation you guys think that came first for the sea turtles explore the seas?
The flipper.
Yeah, that's what I thought, but I was also surprised that that fossil found in Brazil, the Santana Caris gaffnei, tells a different story. That the salt gland that it's located on the back of the eye, the lacrimal gland that turtles, in addition to their kidneys, use to eliminate the excess of salt that marine animals always have to deal with, this osmotic balance. So for they live in the ocean, the first adaptation was the salt gland, because the limbs of this turtle was still very similar to a freshwater turtle. But if the adaptations worked so well, why nowadays we only have 7 sea turtle species, and we have over 350 of turtle-like animals, with around almost 50 of land turtles and over 300 freshwater turtles? Anyone has any guess why we only have 7 species of sea turtles?
Pollution. 7 oceans. 7 oceans.
Yeah, it's. Are you guys familiar with the concept of speciation? So, speciation, it's when like one species generate another species, like they split and they diverse in other types of species. One condition that it's necessary for speciation is isolation. And sea turtles were always connected by the ocean. so they can swim around wherever they want to go. So the isolation condition is not present on sea turtles. On the other turtles that they were like stuck on their ponds or in the rivers that were drifting with the continents, that made them experience different pressures, and this led to this diversification that we see nowadays, so many different species. But this did not happen with sea turtles that are only 7, and 5 of them are globally distributed, and 2 of them are endemic. The Kemp's Ridley, that little guy, it's the one that only occurs in the Gulf of Mexico region. And we have the flatback turtle that only occurs in the region of Australia. The flatback turtle is quite different from the others. Australia was the first landmass to disconnect from the rest, and we have a quite unique evolutionary stories in Australia. And the only species of sea turtle that doesn't have the oceanic phase, the first years in the open ocean, is the flatback turtle. The flatback, it's kind of the homebodies that never leave the neighborhood. And they live in a quite muddy water. We don't actually know why they have this shape. One day I was doing an outreach with kids, and one kid asked me, "Oh, why the flatback has the back that way? Because a dinosaur stuck in it?" And we actually don't know why they have that shape, but it's quite different from the other turtles. So basically, all sea turtles have a similar life story. They are lifelong animals. They take decades to get adulthood, about 20, 30 years to get adults. We only can tell if it's a male or a female when they get adult. The males has this long tail and long, big claws on the shape of a hook that they use to grab on the sides of the carapace of the female when they are mating. And the female usually it's a little bigger than the males, but of course this is not a rule. We can have a male that it's bigger than a female if it's like a recent adult female. And they mate in the water. So there is a breeding season. Usually it's on the warmest time of the year. And the males oftentimes fight between them to have opportunity to mate. And very often we see like more than 10 males fighting, biting each other to have a chance to copulate. And there is a courtship behavior. The male will come swimming around the female, and we will start trembling the flippers and the head, and the female find that very attractive. And the female is receptive for about a month. So once the female is fertilized, she's going to crawl up the beach slowly at night to lay the eggs. So as the mom will never see the babies again, the only thing that they can do is to really choose a good place to lay their eggs. So first she's gonna find a place that she wants to start digging, and she's gonna do the body pitting, like digging with the fork limbs throwing sand out and opening like a crater on the sand. And once she finished this body beating, the turtle will start gently digging the egg chamber. One flipper at a time, and carrying the sand, stepping on it, kicking it out, and one by one. This takes at least an hour, this process. And when the turtle finish preparing the egg chamber, she will start laying the eggs like ping pong balls, usually more than 100 in one nest. And also there is a mucus that helps the eggs to come more easily, that also has some antiseptical properties that prevents contamination of fungus and bacteria during the incubation. And when the turtles are digging, a lot of sand accumulates in their eyes. So again, turtle tears is what rinse off the sand to keep the vision clean before they head back to the water when they finish. And approximately 60 days after burying the eggs, incubated by the sun heat, the eggs will hatch. The hatchlings has a structure, kind of a teeth that works as a can opener that they use to open the egg, and when they stretch their neck, they open the egg, and then they use their little claws to open the egg, and all that moisture that was inside the egg is dried out by the sand around, and the sand starts to leak, filling those spaces, and we can see that the chamber, the nest, is about to hatch, and in about 2 or 3 days the hatchlings will climb up until reach the surface, and when they leave the egg they still have that shape of embryo, kind of folded, and during these 3 days they will absorb the yolk and get stretched with a little shape of a miniature of an adult turtle. And there is a huge predation pressure. The turtles are going to become food for many types of life. In the sand, there are many predators, and also when they reach the water, there's even more predators coming from the sky, coming from the deep ocean, and the turtles navigate following the magnetic field. So the first instinct is to swim against the waves. Once they pass the surf zone, they will start to direct themselves throughout the magnet field, and they will also use those senses to navigate back to the beach where they were born decades later. And this is where my path crossed with turtles again. I had the opportunity to work in this NGO called Projeto Tavern in Brazil, that is located in 9 states. There's more than 20 stations across the country, and I served in many different roles. I started as an intern, become a biologist, a technician, a coordinator, and gained a lot of experience in working in Salon. And during this work in in Brazil, I had the privilege to work very closely with the coastal community and with fishermen, and I learned a lot of them, and I think science could benefit a lot from the traditional knowledge and help us to ask meaningful questions. And I'd like to introduce you guys to Galeguinho, a friend of mine when I was in this beautiful offshore island in Brazil named Fernando de Noronha. I was patrolling the beach every morning to look for nests. And this guy was almost every day there surfing big waves. He surfed the biggest swell from the year, with a little detail that the surfboard was broken. There were no fins. And we become friends, and I thought that I knew how to catch turtles. And one day I invited him to come with me to catch turtles, and when I caught one, he caught 5. And I learned a lot from them, and I think there is a lot that we should learn from the traditional knowledge out from the academy. And there is another story that I like to share with you guys. In the mainland, in northeastern Brazil, when I was starting to patrol a new area, a new stretch of beach, and I found that there was a family of fishermen that they were keeping a turtle as a pet. So when I knew that, I went to this house and I confirmed that they were keeping a hawksbill turtle in their backyard on a cement tank for 5 years in fresh water and feeding with leftovers like beans and rice, pasta. And the turtle, a hawksbill turtle, is supposed to have a beak on the hawk shape. And this turtle has like a very rounded beak because it was scratching on the cement. And also the flippers were very pointed because it was scratching on the cement. And it took me a couple of visits to convince the family to let the turtle go. And I still remember the day when I actually convinced them to let the turtle go. The little girl was crying because I was taking her pet. And then I brought the turtle to a facility of a rehabilitation facility. And as the turtle was never kept in the salt water, we gradually adapted the turtle to the seawater, and we kept for 3 months. The turtle was 40 centimeters, and in 3 months it grew 2 centimeters, and I released the turtle, and I thought that I would never see that turtle again. That turtle was found in this beach named Olho d'Água. And a decade later, I was patrolling the beach to deploy satellite tags on turtles. And that night, I captured 3 turtles, and one of them was tagged. And at that time, was just a number. I didn't know who was it. And when I came back to the lab and I entered the data, I thought, oh, wait a minute, this is an error. This cannot be right. This tag is from that juvenile turtle that was kept in captivity. And then I double checked and I triple checked, and they have 2 tags. So I was certain that was her. the turtle came back to nest. So this same photo that I took from her, I made a portrait and went back to the house where I found the turtle. And for my surprise, the little girl that was crying at that time was now carrying her own baby. So the little girl become a mom, and the turtle become a mom too. So this was a very remarkable story, a rare record of a turtle that actually an individual that was tracked since the hatching until returning to its natal beach to lay their eggs, and the turtle was thriving. But despite we were tracking the turtle, we didn't know what the turtle was doing in between this time. So this opened new questions, and that's why I started a PhD here in FSU in 2019, and I worked with the satellite telemetry of the hawksbill turtles in Brazil for my PhD. And then I joined the Marine Turtle Research Group from FSU, where I help to deploy satellite tags, to deploy animal-borne cameras on turtles, accelerometers, doing some drone surveys, and helping with multiple projects from different students from the lab. And I concluded my PhD in 2024, and I'm currently a postdoc in the same lab. So I want to show you guys how we capture the turtles in Crystal River in Homosassa. We use a technique that we call turtle rodeo. We have permission to do that. Please don't try that at home. So this was a male loggerhead turtle that we are deploying satellite tags. So they are quite big, and once we capture them, we bring them to the boat. And we have a special boat that has a little door, and our team is already prepared to quickly open the door, and then we bring the turtle aboard to do all the procedure of satellite attachment, the tag attachment. We use fiberglass and acrylic, and it takes about 1 hour and a half to do all this process. So far, we captured 8 males, and the males never leave the water, usually, as the females come to nest like every 2 or 3 years, but the males will remain in the water for life. Just like there's a few places where turtles come to bask, like in Hawaii or in the Galapagos, where the turtles has this behavior to come to rest on the sand, but other than that, turtles doesn't come ashore if it's not to nest. So the males are hard to access, and it's very important, these captures, to understand their behaviors. So here I have 2 maps. On the left, we have the males that we tracked from Crystal River in Homosassa. So 8 males, each color it's 1 different male. They are all still transmitting, and these are live maps. We have like near real-time position of those males. So these links, you can access where they are. And on the right, we have the females that we tagged last July in St. George Island. So they are starting to spread around. One of them already arrived on the Keys. And looking on the turtle movements, we did a huge analysis on the stranding data and found that Florida is a hotspot of vessel strikes in the whole U.S. and the Gulf Coast and Atlantic coast. So we delineated some areas that has high incidence of vessel strikes, and we are working in Destin, in St. Pete, in Sarasota, but the map itself doesn't make the boats go slower. So that's why we started this campaign, and I brought some materials here. So there's some stickers here, there's some flyers around, and you guys can also follow us on social media. And basically in this campaign, we are educating boaters how important it's to go slow to avoid a vessel strike, and how important it is to assign someone to be on the bow looking for a marine animal, and how important it is to use polarized sunglasses to actually see the animal and can act and avoid an imminent collision. So, at Boaters for Turtles, you guys can follow us on social media. So, sea turtles have survived mass extinctions, drift of the continents, dramatic changes on these million years. But now they're facing different challenges, like bycatch, pollution, vessel strike, climate change, loss of environment. They are being squeezed on the beaches, the sea level rise. So in part, their survival now depends on us. So I would like to remember that the turtle tears also resemble the endurance of this group that thrived through these million years, but now they depend on us, and what we're going to do next will tell the story. So thank you very much. Yeah, please. And if anyone has any question that I'm able to respond, I'll be happy to.
I was just curious. So the reason I was at St. George during that storm.
Yes. So
Anyway, there were a whole bunch of sea turtles along the beach at St. George.
yes.
Watering station or whatever.
Yeah. We.
Can you please repeat the question?
Yeah. I will.
Repeat the question.
Yeah. I will wait the question, then I will repeat the question.
She's wondering if any of the turtles.
Okay, we are in a question session. Can you, please, if you have questions, please speak up. If you don't have questions, please don't.
So what is the question?
question was about that. The recent storm that affected the St. George sea turtle nest. I was wondering if any of them survived, or if there's still time in the nesting season for them to recover it all. Because it was the most number of sea turtle nests I've ever seen, and that storm came.
Yeah, so the question if the last storm has affected the nest. And yes, many nests were destroyed. We had many devices that were measuring temperature and moisture on the nests, and we lost only 4 from 17 that we deployed. But yes, and one of those turtles that nested there and lost her nest, she nested next in clear water, in a safe place. And nature is very wise. So turtles literally doesn't lay all the eggs in the same basket. So they divide the eggs in multiple clutches with intervals of like 15 days between one clutch and other. So eventually one of the nests will survive. But yes, many of the nests were destroyed on that storm.
Thank you.
Of course.
How do the turtles breathe when they're going from the nest and getting out of the nest and all that to the water? And then how do they breathe in the water? Do they have gills?
Okay, so how the turtles breathe? Resembling their their ancestors, the reptiles that were land animals, they breathe from atmospheric air, and the eggs also breathe. So the eggs are porous. When the nest is flooded, the eggs die. So they can breathe through the sand. The sand usually it's a kind of a very oxygenated environment, so they are able to breathe even being buried there.
But then when they're hatched, they have lungs?
Yeah, they have lungs like us.
And then how in the water, when they're underwater, how do they?
Yeah, they have to come to the surface to breathe.
Oh, they do?
Turtles have lungs, and as they have the shell, it's a quite a remarkable structure. It's the easiest vertebrate to identify. You see the carapace, you say, oh, that's a turtle. Because they had the shoulders and the hips encapsulated on this box. And different than us that has, we can expand our ribs to breathe, turtles cannot do that. So they do that with their muscle on the neck, and they do like a syringe, and that's how they breathe.
Like a lizard?
Not quite as a lizard, but it's similar. Yeah,
But it like opens up?
yeah. No, they have a bone here attached to the muscle that he pulls like a syringe.
Oh, okay.
How do they figure out how to navigate?
How they can figure out how to navigate back to the beach. Yeah, this is one of the mysteries that it's not fully solved yet, because the magnetic field, it's like bands on the planet, like latitudinal bands, but they are not static. They are constantly changing. And turtle life, it can take like 3 decades for a turtle to become adult. And especially for turtles nesting in offshore islands, that change on the magnetic field in 3 decades can pull them like many hundreds of kilometers far from that place. So how they can find an offshore island on a dynamic magnetic field, it's still unknown. But they do have a sense to feel the magnetic field, And especially on the mainland, they can just go parallel to the mainland and find that band. But finding an offshore island, it's a different story. We don't know.
I knew a developer in Miami Beach, I'm an architect, and he would tell us at the board meetings, what's sexy about sand? Turtles. And he would say this all the time.
Yeah, how is the determination of sex?
Well, no, he would say, the developer in Miami Beach that I would work with at a big boardroom, and we would all be talking about developing and what we would have to do, and he would say, wait, what's sexy about sand? And he would say, turtles. And he would tell all of us that he's paid $1 million for the mating sand of turtles. And he'd have to bring them in and change the sand. And the sand is constantly changing on Miami Beach. They constantly bring in new sand. How is this? There were two things I always wondered. How did they acclimate to this different sand that keeps coming in and changing, coming in and changing? And then also out in Miami Beach, the hot rods that go around surfing in between all of them, and they stop an inch from the line, and then they get out and they do their. And I'm thinking, how do these things handle the acoustic vibration of all these and then running? But they get checked every morning like that. You watch them. 30 miles and a full stop, and I'm like, guys, that's a nursery there, like back up. Anyway, the speed bumps coming up to, the speed coming up to a turtle nest. Anyway, those are the kinds of things I'm interested in. Does it cause a vibration problem? Is the sand changing such a problem? But we pay for our sand in Miami Beach, and we make sure it's sexy.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that sea turtles' sex determination depends on the temperature.
Right.
So during the incubation process, the warmer, more females are generated. So there is a particular time during the embryo development when the gonad is still undeveloped, like about on the middle third of the incubation, that the heat will matter to define the sex. So when it's warmer, more females will hatch. If it's cooler, more males. So there is a temperature like around 28 degrees that we call pivotal temperature that would generate half of the clutch would be male and half female. But now we are seeing that the more and more warm temperatures. So there is a feminization trend on the sea turtle populations. And the recent researches that we are conducting now, it's to guess what is the role of the males on the population, how many females one male could fertilize, and how they could help to buffer this changes that are happening. Because we are already seeing skewed populations. There's most sea turtle populations has more females than males. But again, nature is wise, and the males usually come to breed every year, and the females not. So the operational sex ratio, the number of turtles that are available to actually breed, kind of balance because of their behavior changes. So the expected change that are going to happen is the nesting season may move around in time, like to get the optimal temperature, and also in the space, like in latitudinal areas, it's likely that the turtles will start to colonize areas that are still too cold now, yes, but will be soon warmer and viable for incubation.
And do they feel the acoustics of this
Yes, the turtles can hear very well. I can tell that, like, from experience, like capturing turtles, and they can hear very well. And now new studies are finding that turtles can actually emit sounds. We cannot listen to them, but they are emitting sounds. And there is a new researches on acoustics and bioacoustics to understand from which structure that sounds are coming from. And the hatchlings make different types of sounds to during their preparation to emerge at the surface. And this is a new field of research that it's just starting.
And we need to go back and change the ordinances and put a bigger buffer around this. It's not just the line, they can't stop 5 inches from the cord. The noises, I've always wondered, how can you stop so close to these nesting areas? They hear it. And I've always been bothered by it. 20 years I've walked the ocean going, why don't y'all pull back? And I'm going to go back to Miami Beach and say, you need to add an ordinance that they don't drive within 20 feet of these frigging mounts.
Yeah, I work doing some consultancy in Brazil, and I'm doing some analysis on seismic surveys.
Yes.
That they use noise to do oil prospections. And I'm seeing some turtles that change their behavior when they meet a boat that are emitting those sounds, and they run away literally from those boats.
Yes.
So for sure, the acoustic pollution, it's a problem.
It's real.
As well, it's the light pollution. Turtles
Yeah,
also.
we respect that very much, but I think the acoustic, we have to get on board with that. I wish I need to cite something and send a memo to somebody.
Yeah, we definitely need more research on the acoustic.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
On St. George Island, do they have the nest closed off? I always wonder how people find where the nests are.
So the question is how the people can find where the nests are. So it's necessary to patrol constantly the beach, because when the turtle come, the turtle leave tracks. So we basically, when do turtle patrols, we are looking for tracks. And then we can follow the track and kind of find where is the egg chamber and determine if there is eggs or not. But if you delay like a few days, the tracks are going to be erased and it's not easy to find anymore. Yes.
What's the lifespan of these sea turtles, and do they breathe through that entire lifespan? What is the...
Yeah, there's limited information on that. Most of the data is based on skeletochronology, because we don't have research for centuries looking on turtle lifespan. But it's about 100 years, so 3 generations would be like 105 years, and it seems that they keep increasing their output until a certain point, and after that they enter on a senescence stage that they produce less. But also, this is something that there is very little information available, and it's very important for dynamic of populations to understand how the populations can be resilient. But most data is still anecdotal. Yes.
Why did you choose the Gulf of Mexico or Florida to keep working with sea turtles?
I worked for a project at Salon for 18 years, and at that time in Brazil, there was no specific lab that worked with sea turtles, and I really wanted to work on a specialized lab, and I met Mariana Fuentes in Australia a while ago, and then we become friends and we become collaborators, and then she invited me to come to do a PhD in here, and that's how I ended up here. Yeah. Yes.
What's your favorite sea turtle?
Hawksbill turtle.
Why? Yeah, why? Why?
They're so pretty.
And what does the name mean in Portuguese?
There are different names in Portuguese for hawksbill turtle. It's like tartaruga de pente. It's like comb turtle that used to make combs. So that tortoise shell, that beautiful pattern, that comes from the hawksbill turtle. And that's why they are so endangered, because they used the shell to make many types of things. And in Brazil we also call tartaruga verdadeira, like the true turtle. Yeah.
I've seen so many pictures where Indians use turtles for their ritual sounds and things. Which turtle were they using to cover their knees? It was armament almost for them.
For sure they have hawksbills, they have green turtles, and they use a lot of green turtles and hawksbills as well. The green turtle is very used for doing the turtle soup.
Yes.
The calipi, it's like a fat of the turtle that is green. That's why they're called green turtles, because they're not green. They're brown on the external side, but as they feed on seagrass and algae, they have this green fat, and in the past they used it to dry out like bacon, this fat, and keep on the boat, and this would help them to avoid scorbuto during the long journeys. Yeah.
Interesting.
So I'm wondering, are there any citizen science opportunities that you're particularly excited about for this community, whether it's for elementary or high school? Are there any that you're promoting or getting ready to launch?
Yeah, we are doing these campaigns, Bolters for Turtles, and we are about to plan the new campaigns. So for sure, there are opportunities. You can reach me out later here, or you can also get in touch with Mariana Fuentes, which is the PI of my lab, and there are some opportunities for volunteering.
Who are the predators of adult turtles? Sea turtles.
Besides us,
Yeah.
sharks, the killer whale. Yeah, so basically big sharks and the killer whale, they can eat a turtle. And there are other predators that doesn't need to eat the whole turtle. Sometimes they just grab a piece and they are happy with that. Yeah.
A question. When you helping a turtle cross the street, is it true if you change their direction they get lost forever? That's what somebody told me, so I had to ask. I don't know, because I help turtles cross the street, and I just like, if they're going that way, that's the way I'm going to put them.
Probably not.
Okay, I was worried.
They did build a turtle wall at US 27 at Lake Jackson.
Right.
What turtles at the lake? Which turtles were they blocking them from going across? From Lake Jackson, there was a turtle wall built a long time ago that was blocking the turtles because they were crossing
That was
the
to keep
street.
them. That was to keep them off the street.
Well, to keep them off
So
the
there were
street,
tunnels
right.
under.
That's right. Well, that's what I mean. But they built the wall to keep them from going on the street. So a big wall was built with tunnels going through it.
Yeah.
But what was that turtle that they were blocking? Do you know?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with
Just
that.
any freshwater.
It's gonna be
Any fresh sliders.
Any freshwater turtle.
Name your slider.
I mean, when I grew up, we had snap turtles, and you could play with them and pick them up and throw them around. And I mean, we had, and then big gopher turtles. We could go and ride the back of them. I don't know why we thought we could do that, but we just went right up to them. We just jumped right on them. I mean, I don't know how. They're big 3-foot ones, and you just ride their back. I don't know how we
Is
did
that the Ciculta tortoises that people keep as pets?
Yeah, well, I know. I mean, these were the ones that were out in the woods.
Oh, okay.
Like
No,
the
those are
snapping.
gopher tortoises.
I mean, the snapping turtles are dangerous, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you can take your
I
finger
found
off.
them when I was 2 years old, snapping. I would think that Who cares? Anyway, turtles are beautiful.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Armando. Thank you for coming here. Before you go, what we have next month is, so speaking of turtles navigating the surrounding, next month we're going to have the Emeritus Director of the National High Magnetic Field Laboratory. So he will tell you more about magnetic fields, not only Earth magnetic fields, but some stronger magnetic fields. And I'm sure you guys are all dying from thirst, so you probably want to get another drink. Thank you all. And our donation box is right as you exit.